Colorado Springs City Council election is just 2 weeks away, and we're following the money for you tonight. City Council candidates generally don't pick up big donors like we see in a congressional race, but for the last year, we've reported on increasing attention to developers' donations to city campaigns. Here's News 5's Allison Zimmerman.
I do not take developer campaign donations.
It's really time for there to be people who want to actually represent the interests of Colorado Springs residents and not developers or big business.
So what's the deal with developer money?
Because both of these candidates, unfortunately, are outstanding people, but they are bought by establishment names.
We heard this in just about every Colorado Springs City Council election forum. Candidates proudly saying they're not taking money from developers. It's not a secret developers and those with business interest in the city donate to city council candidates. This issue has come up a lot in the last year.
And you got me with the one gotcha question.
That was back in June. We'll get you caught up on that in just a little bit. But I wanted to talk to someone who could give us a little more insight on developer dollars in city elections. Are campaign donations a conflict of interest?
Well, I mean, in a sense, all of politics is conflicts of interest and representatives trying to represent those interests.
I spoke with Michael Greenberg, a political science professor at the University of Denver. He says, yes, campaign donations can be a form of a conflict of interest, but it's not so black and white.
It's more of an ethical than a legal question of whether those are, unsuitable conflicts for politics compared to just representing your constituents' interests.
So what does that look like?
If a representative represents a district that has a large factory, we wouldn't think it's unseemly for that representative to promote the interests of those factory workers in that particular business. But if you have a lot of contributions coming perhaps from outside of the district to promote some industry that isn't really popular among constituents, people tend to see that as unsavory.
In a city like Colorado Springs that's growing a lot, there are many conversations on how do we grow, where do we build? So whether or not it's unsavory for a city council candidate to take donations from a developer is really up to you, the voter. But let's get back to this. The idea of how developers influence Colorado Springs City Council came to a head last summer.
3 members here at the dais have received $2,500 from Widener in their campaign for this office, and I think they should at least address that.
I absolutely believe this is impugning our council members' integrity up here, and I'm just not going to put up with that.
City Council censured Councilman Dave Donaldson after this exchange. He brought up during a meeting that some council members received donations from Widener Apartment Homes, which was the developer on a project going before council, and he believed they should recuse themselves. Now, remember what Greenberg said earlier about this being more of an ethical issue than a legal one? Well, the Colorado Springs City Charter does not list campaign donations as a form of a conflict of interest. The city attorney pointed that out at the time. Donaldson's comments came a day after council voted on a building height resolution that did not move forward. After the vote did not go in his favor, he said it prompted him to look into campaign finance reports.
I would tell you it spurred me to look that morning.
2021, when he first ran for city council, he did not take donations from the Housing and Building Association of Colorado Springs, which typically donates upwards of $10,000 to candidates. In 2022, he made a run for the state house while on council. Campaign finance reports show he did take donations from developers.
Housing and growth can be a particularly thorny issue across the U.S. and in Colorado as well.
Greenberg points out this is because for most voters who are homeowners, it's personal. They're generally in tune with the value of their home.
It's where most people store most of their wealth. And so people are going to be keenly aware of, is new growth going to come into my neighborhood? What's that going to do to my own personal financial well-being? And so development, growth, these become really salient issues that people care about more than something like the nitty-gritty of infrastructure spending.
So city council candidates were required to file campaign finance reports on March 17th. In it, we found a lot of information about just where candidates are getting their money from. Here's a look at the top 4 candidates receiving developer donations. Sharia Elliott Sterling's campaign contributions in District 4 is made up almost entirely from developer and real estate funding. This includes a $10,000 donation from the HBA. She's followed by Christopher Burns in District 5, Brandy Williams and Rick Gillett, both in District 3, have also received thousands of dollars from those working in real estate or as developers. I have a more in-depth breakdown on where candidates are getting their money, including whether or not it's from people within the district that they're looking to represent. You can find that right now on KOAA.com. Allison Zimmerman, News 5.